Hey everybody, Jeremy here. I'm gonna take a seat because right now, by the time you're looking at this video, Toys R Us is gone. It's dead here in the United States of America. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time, really just off the top of my head, didn't really think too much of this out, just to give some of my thoughts about this place and why it's a little bit of a big deal to some people. I know it's like, dude, it's just a store. But I think one of the really important things to remember about this, because yes, it is just a store, but when you are of a certain age and you kind of remember how things used to be versus what they are now, there is a really strong sense of nostalgia of a world that you used to know, and just kind of seeing how all of that is, starting to tear down and not be a part of the fabric of our reality anymore. Now, that stands true for a lot of things in this society that we are not going to get into in this video, but specifically about Toys R Us in general. See, I am 32 years old, so I remember a time when stores, where there were dedicated stores for certain things, and there really wasn't too much of a fear or concern of those places going away. Of course, we remember video stores, Blockbuster Video, and then there was also maybe there was something called like Box Office Video or something like that. I think was that Box Office Video. There was Family Video, which I think is still around, and like a whole bunch of other ones whose name escapes me because that's what happens with time. You just kind of completely forget what they were called. But remember stores like that. And remember stores like Radio Shack, KB Toys, and now Toys R Us. And there's this memory of going into all of these places as a young person with my parents, and if you're of my age or a little bit older, of your parents, and you just kind of remember how that was like. The excitement of, for example, going into that video store and seeing that new game that you saw in the magazines, because, no internet, that you saw in the magazines and you don't really know if it's good or not, but you were just looking at the cover and got excited. You saw Maximum Carnage right there and you're like, oh my God, that's Carnage. Spider-Man, maybe it's good. There was this Roger Rabbit game that I was super hyped for that, as I recall, I didn't really get anywhere because it was just one part and I didn't understand it and I kept dying. But the fact is, it was going in there and seeing that box art right there on that shelf of all those different games and just knowing, it really not knowing, kind of like not necessarily like a loot box or a grab mystery bag or something, but just right then there wasn't a way to really know in real time if this is something that you should get or not. And sometimes it was a great get, sometimes there was regret, I should have rented something else, but it's that feeling that was actually there. And when it comes to places like Toys R Us or KB Toys, going into the mall and going into KB Toys, and just it's just the memory of being a kid in a toy store. It's not just an expression. There is a deep-seated emotional attachment to all that as well. And as we grow older and you get kids of your own, you want to share those moments that you had when you were younger, and you want your kids to feel that exact same way. And there's not a whole lot that we can actually say that we shared between the generations. Toys R Us is one of the last places that we can say that we could share with that new generation of kids, because it was the only dedicated toy store left in the country on a mass scale. Sure, you can find little other toy stores, mom and pop shops all over the place, but the big one, that was it. So when we have kids and then we know that I can't take the kid into Toys R Us and just see if they're going to be mesmerized by, oh my God, there's so many toys as far as the eye can see. I can never get annoyed at the fact that the kid wants to go to Toys R Us and maybe I just don't feel like it. You know, using Toys R Us as a treat. If you eat all your vegetables, do something great, you get a grade on your report card. Who knows? Maybe we can go to Toys R Us. Now, granted, with me, going to Toys R Us would be, you know, almost as much for me as it would be for my daughter if it were still around. But you know what I mean. You know, it's just, that's what happened to me when I was growing up. So we want that to also spread to them as well. And now we don't have that opportunity. So she'll never know about a video store. Everything is right there. Netflix, YouTube, whatever. She's already just smacking around on the smartphone knowing that if I hit this enough times, things happen on this screen. They're going to be born into the I want it now generation. They won't know what it is to wait. They don't know what something is. They are always going to know what something is like before they actually try it. The mystery, for the most part, is going to be gone. And when it comes to buying like toys and stuff, you know, Walmart, Target, Amazon, there's your toy store right there. And you know, you gotta move with the times. I get it. That's fine. I understand. But that's why the whole loss of Toys R Us is taken, you know, more harshly to some people than it is others, because it's all these other external factors that's weighing in on that, especially if you personally loved the place as an adult and now you have a kid who will not be able to experience it. You know, and like I said, it just goes into many other facets of life. You know, what if you were a huge fan of theme parks or water parks and you don't hear too much about those anymore? They're still around. There's still Six Flags, you know, Six Flags Over Georgia is still around. They, to me at least, don't seem like they have that same luster that they used to have. You know, those were like the Midwest Disneylands or Disney World. But, you know, it's just not there anymore. Just not there anymore. So that is why losing Toys R Us, I think, is such a big deal. And, you know, the biggest condolences in the world, or at least as many as we can spare, you know, at the moment, you know, go to all those people who have to find other jobs. I hope that most did, and they were just kind of riding it out, or maybe they were just there at the end and get a little bit of extra money, you know, because everyone knew the score. Everyone knew what was going to happen. So I would just hope that as many people can, you know, get back on it as soon as possible. And as far as these talks of a revival, a reboot, Jerry Storch, carry the torch, are you going to reboot it? You know, I don't know. No, don't hold your breath. But, you know, we'll see what happens with that. We'll see. I don't know. But, you know, I am going to miss the mystery, just like the mystery when I was a kid going into the store, whether it's the toy store or the video store or even the Radio Shack, and just not knowing what's going to be right there on those shelves. The Toys R Us are going to stock something that I didn't know was coming out. So now that is gone. And it really was a huge part in me building up like this stuff behind me. In my mid to late 20s is really actually started to do all of this type of collecting. And then Toys R Us was like that catalyst. Toys R Us is where I bought the first Funko Pop that I ever owned, the baby Groot, whose head has fallen off. But that was the first time that I learned about Pops. That's the first place that I went. And then it just exploded into this massive collection, which back there is like a fifth of what I actually have. And, you know, pretty much, you know, the vast majority of things back there, you know, it came from Toys R Us. It's just how it is. And, yeah, we just take it a little bit more seriously when you're older, I guess. And going back on my channel for a few years, there were a couple good handfuls of Lego videos that I was putting up. And then Toys R Us was the first place where I bought my first Lego set, which was the Lego DC Superheroes Batman versus Power Armor Lex Luthor. I believe that was the name, but you know, that's where I bought my very first Lego set from Toys R Us, and then it exploded from there. The Creator line, which I thought was really cool, and all the other superhero sets that I bought, you know, like the Joker's, man, I don't even remember the name of that, but it was like this theme park in Joker. It had this roller coaster. It was a really popular set, actually, and it was near the end. You know, everyone was trying to buy it up because it was, you know, starting to fetch a good penny on the secondary markets or whatever. But anyway, a lot of the Lego stuff that I got also came from Toys R Us, as well as, you know, and a whole bunch of other things, you know, too. So the last purchase that I got from there was the Mr. Incredible and Jack 2-pack. I did a review on that. There's going to be a card. I don't know where, but it's going to be up there. So you can check out that review right there. And then the last time that I went there was it yesterday? I think it was on a Wednesday. And I went there. I just wanted to see what things are looking like in there. And it was like ridiculous. There was only like there was that center shelving. When you walk in, it was like bam right there, and then there was like a one right here and one right here, and that was where all the stuff was. Everything else was just like roped off, and you know, it's like this is all they had. It was kind of sad, like 90% off. So unless you wanted to buy like some gondola shelving, there was really nothing there for you. So you know, just completely gutted. And yeah, that was the last memory of that there Toys R Us. And I know I'm kind of rambling right now, but I just keep thinking about other stuff, you know, especially back when I was doing this job that required me to do a whole lot of traveling all over the Southeast, so many different cities across, you know, a good handful of states. And every time I saw a Toys R Us, I had to stop there. I had to, you know, and just seeing what all the stock was like in all these different places and But anyway, that's it. Not really too sure what the centralized, focused point of all of this was. I guess I just wanted to talk about Toys R Us in the day that it died. So that's it. But before we wrap up this video, I do want to once again turn you guys on to my Instagram account, because I'm doing some Instagram TV stuff. Really stuff about my day-to-day life that's not necessarily things that you will see here on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, go follow me there. It's going to be Instagram.com/Jeremy T, as in Tom, Hill. And you'll be able to look at my profile and check out all those Instagram TV videos that I'm starting to put up there. But as for right now, that is it. Those are my memories about Toys R Us. If you want to let us all know about your memories of Toys R Us, or, you know, any thoughts or whatever that you might have that you want to leave as a comment, please do so. We all want to hear from you. So thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jeremy, and I'll talk to you later.